Hello, I'm Casey Aiken, and this is 21 This Week. Coming up next, presidential survivor island debate posed high risks for both candidates. Which one will be voted off the island? Angela Alsobrooks leads Larry Hogan by 11 points in most recent polls. And Montgomery Community Media wins 5 local Emmy Awards. Isn't that great? Woohoo! Our panel of insiders will give you the story behind the story. We're joined by civic activist Cary Lamari and Vice Chairman of the Montgomery County Republican Central Committee, Stacey Sauter. Stay tuned for these stories and more on the next 21 This Week. Rarely does our country witness a clash between political titans, but that's what exactly occurred on Thursday, June 27th, when the 45th President of the United States and his successor, the 46th President of the United States, squared off against one another in the first of 2 scheduled debates. Historically, given the divergent views of each candidate, there hasn't been such an important debate since the Lincoln-Douglas debates that prefaced the Civil War. If the oratory last night's debate was less than inspirational, it was still not without substance, as each candidate sought to claim the defender of democracy and cast his opponent as a Julius Caesar who would destroy the U.S. Republic and anoint himself as a dictator. And we know all how Caesar ended. Cary, going into the run-up of the debate, many pundits believe that if President Biden remained upright and awake for 90 minutes, then he would convince a skeptical electorate that he was still fit to serve another 4 years. How'd he do?
I'll tell you what, I think it was a horrible debate all the way around. Biden looked tired. He obviously wasn't feeling well. Trump gave a great performance. Too bad everything he said were lies, okay? And CNN, I'm sorry, they did a horrible job because there were no fact checking. There was no structure. They let people get away with saying whatever they want to and no follow-up, which was a real problem. That's my opinion. I'd like to go over my thoughts on the individuals commentators, but I want to give others the opportunity to speak up. Stacey, especially, I'd love to get your thoughts on it.
Well, Stacey is going to has her as an opportunity, and Stacey, the political chattering class also had predictions for former President Trump, which was if he could avoid acting like a raging bull in a china shop, then he too could claim at long last he looked presidential. How'd he do?
He succeeded. I think that he did well last night, and that the expectations I thought were low for Biden, and he exceeded that depth he went to depths we couldn't even believe last night. It was really bad. I'll tell you what, my analogy of this is it's almost like a football match. We are in the 4th quarter of the Super Bowl, and it's a tied game. We've got a quarterback essentially who was pulled from injured reserve with Biden, and that they've got, one timeout right now, and that's going to be the Democratic National Convention. Can they get another player in there and try to win this game? They better hope that their special teams are up to par in this final, quarter of this match, because they're otherwise going to lose, and probably lose big time.
Okay, well, let's go back and kind of parse through some of what we saw last night. And Cary, you did mention that you didn't like the format, but the format was one that was proposed by the Biden administration and approved by the Trump administration, and for obvious reasons from historical past, they wanted less of the moderators and more of the candidates. But what was good about the debate, and also what was lacking? I'll give you the first opportunity, and then we'll go to Stacey.
Real simple. I mean, Trump lied throughout the whole deal. I mean, Trump, the convicted criminal. Pardon me. I mean, is that the best we can do? Military. Anyone who joins the military are chumps and losers. I mean, give me a break. The Charlottesville. Come on. There are nice people on both sides. COVID. There's only one person early on. I mean, it turned out to be a nightmare pandemic. Immigration. Yeah, Biden may have built the cages, but, Trump's the one who used those cages. And if that's his immigration policy, we got a real problem. You know, who can forget the George Floyd protest? Okay. People were protesting in D.C. Trump orders the National Guard in. They bombard protesters with tear gas and beating them. And he takes a stroll through Lafayette Park over to St. John's, holds up a Bible. Really? I'm sorry. We've got a real problem. Not to mention, you know, his tax cut for the rich, $2 trillion from 39% down to 8%. Now, Biden's solution, he wants to bring it up to 24, 25%. You know, I mean, there's no substance there, and people deserve better. Not to mention, when asked if Trump will accept the results of this next election, what's his response? We'll see. You know, if it's fair, if it's legal, you know, we'll see. You know, I'm sorry. And then when he blamed the January 6th insurrection on Nancy Pelosi, no acceptance of any responsibility. Shameful.
Cary, we got you got a laundry list there, and I want to give Stacey equal time here. So, Stacey, I'll let you think and address what was good about the debate and what was lacking.
I actually thought that Tapper and Bash did a better job than I anticipated. I thought that there was some balance in the topics. I wish that they could have taken more time diving into foreign international affairs. I think that would have served us well. We've got wars raging in Israel and in Ukraine, and the way that Ukraine was talked about, I don't think that we got enough substance on it. I'm really curious from Trump what it is he thinks he's going to be able to do to stop this right away. Those were the things that I thought were lacking on his part. He would give these blanket statements that he'd be able to get Evan Gershkovich out and he'd stop the war in Ukraine. Well, how is he going to do that? And they kept trying to press him on certain issues that he didn't answer. I hope that those will unfold in the days to come. Biden is not up to the job. He wasn't up to the job in the debate last night. He's not up to the job of holding the presidency. I think at this point in time that it would probably serve the Democratic Party very well to try to find a replacement. But how that would play out is anyone's guess.
You know, Stacey just mentioned the fact that foreign policy was touched on, but not, you know, in a meaningful way. Was enough time devoted to addressing foreign policy issues, Cary?
They avoided it. I mean, the powder keg is in Gaza. I mean, if you lose it there, guess what? You know, you're going to bring in, you know, Iraq, Turkey, Saudi Arabia. It's going to be a nightmare. And then when you talk about Ukraine, do you really think Russia's going to allow Ukraine to win? I mean, in the end, it's very easy for them to push that one button. Gone. I'm sorry. Right. Our foreign policies are a mess right now.
All right, so we only have a couple minutes left. I want to talk about the border and how it was addressed. Stacey, I'll let you go first.
I don't think that it was managed very well, and that is because when you talk about the numbers game down there, and if Biden talks about the fact that they've caught so many more illegal immigrants, the percentage of them that they've caught, well, that's because there are far greater numbers coming into the country right now, and that he has yet to take any responsibility for reversing the executive orders, which he could do with the stroke of a pen and close that border down. And we have some very serious criminals coming into this country, which has been evidenced by the recent murders of these young women. And that was barely acknowledged last night by him. It's a disaster. And I think that his foreign policy overall has been disastrous. And I think that Trump made some very clear points last night that we had none of these skirmishes when he was in charge.
Cary, your thoughts?
The Democrats have tried to get the Republicans to participate in creating legislation for the border for what, 3 years now? We had two opportunities this past year, and the Republicans basically said, "Gee, you know, this is a political issue for the national election for Trump." I'm telling you, no, that's foul. And yeah, okay. Give me your poor, give me your tired, give me your huddled masses. People are going to cross the border. People want to come to America. We need to establish a pathway to get people across the border without creating this mess where they're just going to rush in and allow criminals to come in.
Well, as evidenced by both of your points of view, well, there's a lot of divide in our country and in our politics.
Absolutely.
And I don't think the debate last night resolved any of those issues. And it'll be interesting to see who comes out with momentum from this debate. So, but we're going to take a break. When we come back from this short break, Larry Hogan starts negative ads to counter polls showing Angela Alsobrooks with an 11-point lead, and MCM scores big at the local Emmys. Stay tuned.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
When I first saw Turtle, my heart was full. Now anything but lonely.
We have this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet,
We discover
they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
And welcome back. A new poll by Public Policy Polling on the Maryland U.S. Senate race shows former Governor Larry Hogan trailing Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks by 11%. Stacey, how worried are you by this sudden shift in the public opinion polls, since prior to the primary, Larry Hogan was leading both Democratic candidates, David Trone and Angela Alsobrooks? What's your concern?
Casey, I believe that we discussed her candidacy before the primary, and my thoughts about her were the same then as they are now. And do not underestimate that woman, okay? And I think that we're seeing now what her political prowess is all about. And Larry Hogan is going to have to really work hard during this election season to potentially play catch up with her and to exceed the where she is right now. She's a dynamo, and I think. Now, this is maybe far-fetched thinking, but we've got two potential presidential candidates in Angela Alsobrooks and Wes Moore. And now
Really?
This may be cynical of me, and I'm thinking that if she ends up stubbing her toe, if she's doing really well, it may be because Wes Moore stuck his foot out to trip her up because he doesn't want her getting in his way eventually.
Political backstabbing at its best. That's what we feast on this show. We love it. We love the infighting. Cary, Mr. Hogan has begun airing negative ads about Miss Alsobrooks, highlighting her very liberal views on immigration and crime. And, in the forefront of this is the recent murder of Harford County woman Rachel Marin, alleged at the hands of an El Salvadorian man illegally in the United States. Isn't this a weakness for Miss Alsobrooks that could damage her in the election?
Not at all. Listen, I like Larry Hogan. I thought he was a good governor, and there's a lot of truth in what Stacey said. But the reality is Miss Alsobrooks is a dynamic individual. She was a state prosecutor. And the fact of the matter is, the progressive Democrats gave her a very, very hard time because she was so pro-justice. Okay, I love Larry Hogan as a man. I think he's reasonable. He's fair. I don't think he's going to beat Angela Alsobrooks. And I think that he's going down the wrong road, even for his own political future, to try to use negative campaigning against someone as dynamic as Angela Alsobrooks. Remember, she's increased the economy for Prince George's County. She brought the FBI into Prince George's County. She started 10 new school constructions in Prince George's County. Compare that to Montgomery. We lost 14,000 jobs since 2018.
So, but let's be fair about this. A Republican running in Maryland has a tough job running statewide, and Larry Hogan has shown the ability to get votes and get votes from Democratic areas. He doesn't have to win all the votes. He just has to, increase the percentage of votes, particularly in Montgomery County, Baltimore County, and in Anne Arundel County and Harford County. He's not going to win Prince George's County. He's not going to win Baltimore City. So, Stacey, can Larry Hogan put together a campaign to peel off enough Democratic votes to beat Angela Alsobrooks?
I do believe that he can. And when I talk about not underestimating Angela Alsobrooks, do not ever underestimate Larry Hogan either. I think that one of the biggest problems that he has is that there's still a lot of people who are quite sore with him about the last election. And we have to, as the Republican Party, we have to remind them that if Angela Alsobrooks is elected, she will be voting if Trump wins, she'll be voting against him 100% of the time, whereas Larry Hogan may potentially vote against him 20% of the time. But we will have an R in our column, and potentially, if that means that we gain the Speaker of the House, and then, the Majority Leader, and then also committees, leadership on the committees, it's well worth the fight. So I don't underestimate him, and don't underestimate the powers that are coming in to help fight him, the National Republican Senatorial Campaign Committee, et cetera.
So, Cary, I don't think it's out of bounds for Larry Hogan to attack Miss Alsobrooks on her stated platform. You compare the platform that Angela Alsobrooks has versus the platform that Larry Hogan has on immigration, on crime, on economic development. That's all fair game for negative ads, and those are going to have some effect, don't you think?
No. Listen, Governor Hogan, and I still call him governor, he's an executive, okay? It's a different animal. He's not your politician. Angela Alsobrooks is a politician, okay? Hogan has to use or promote his strengths, okay? Attacking your opponent, a politician, is not a strength. It's actually a weakness for him. He needs to promote the initiatives that he had when he was governor. He needs to talk about his strengths. And to be honest with you, Senator, this is the wrong position for him. He should have run against Trump. I would have much rather seen him, in the Republican presidential race than I would in this race. I think the guy he's got that ability, but you know what? He's going to lose against Angela Alsobrooks.
Well, I just want to give you a news flash and a news alert, Cary. To win as governor of Maryland twice, you have to be a politician. So Larry Hogan has demonstrated that and the ability to get votes. So it's going to be an interesting summer. It's going to be a long, hot summer in the political fields. But let's go on to the next topic, which is really fun. And this is, I've been affiliated with Montgomery Community Media since 2001. And I can't tell you how proud I am that last weekend at the local Emmy Awards ceremony, Montgomery Community Media took home, get this, 5 Emmy Awards for news special category, for community service, for talent, for program host, for criminal justice, they're short, and the category of education. So congratulations to all of the Montgomery Community Media people, but especially, and I'm going to ask Jake Ellers, because Jake was one of our producer, is one of the winners for Fentanilo, the special on what fentanyl is doing to our community. Terrific job. Also included on that was Carolyn Raskouskas, who was our former producer, David Michael Berman, who subbed in the past, Chad Moore, and we've got and Adrian. I forgot Adrian Zalusko, when we were in studio, Adrian was the nicest guy. I mean, everybody was nice, but Adrian was terrific. And so I got a special feeling of and admiration for all of the crew and for everybody at MCM. So I want to thank you. Any thoughts that you might have before we go to break?
I think it's wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed Carolyn and Jacob working with them here on 21 this week. They make us look good. They believe me, the framing.
And that's a hard job, Cary. That's a hard job, making us look good.
Especially me.
Stacey, any thoughts?
Casey, it's really an honor, first of all, to be participating in your program. And I think that it's a real lovely tribute to you and everybody that works there about the strength of this channel and what they're producing overall. And I wish them well. Keep up the good work, everybody, and look forward to the Emmy results next year.
Well, thanks. I will say this. I mean, I inherited this program from Brooke Lee, and it couldn't have been a nicer opportunity. But Bruce DuPoit and Brooke and Blair Lee developed this show as a service to Montgomery County, and Montgomery Community Media was seen as the flagship station of all of the JPEG stations servicing the community. And we maintained that standard, and we maintained the quality. So it's really a testament to everybody at the studio and at the station. And I want to, give my congratulations. Stay tuned for parting shots.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight, both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back, because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Welcome back. Now with parting shots, Stacey Sauter.
Thanks, Casey. I am the vice chairman of the Republican Party here in Montgomery County, and we are very active. We have a lot of events going on. We are in full throttle right now supporting Larry Hogan and Neil Parrott and Trump as well. We had a big envelope stuffing gathering at headquarters this past weekend for Neil Parrott. We will continue to be doing a lot of activities out in the communities. And so if there are any people out there interested in volunteering, please go to www.mcgop.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Stacey. Cary, Lamari, your parting shot.
It's going to be the same party shop I had the last time. Attainable housing. Please. The residents of this county need to be up in arms. They need to be concerned. This new proposal for attainable housing is going to affect the environment significantly. It's going to affect stormwater management. It's going to affect, and that's quality as well as quantity. It's going to affect lot-to-lot flooding, which we really don't have any legislation, dealing with that at all. It's going to affect corporate hedge funds that are going to invest in creating, a corporate America, rental housing for Montgomery County. I actually can see Montgomery County one day becoming a corporate town. It's not what we want in Montgomery County. It's going to affect the tree canopy of this county. It's going to affect parking in this county. It's going to affect transportation in this county. You can wake up, walk at your front door, and see a 3 or 4 unit apartment building built across the street in your neighborhood. And with reduced parking standards, they are going to cut the parking standards in half. So what does that mean? Our small neighborhood roads, are going to be less safe for emergency vehicles because you're going to have a lot of cars parking on the street trying to get through with large equipment. Look, it's ill thought out. It's really built for corporate America. It's hitting across the country. It's affecting all jurisdictions this way. Be aware, get involved, read, before it affects you. That's it. I'm not going to say any more about attainable housing.
No more about attainable housing today, because if you give Cary a minute, he'll take 5. I want to thank you both for appearing today, and I want to thank the audience for tuning in each and every week to Montgomery County's hardest-hitting political talk show. For 21 This Week, I'm Casey Aiken.